Hey everybody, my name is Scott, and this is the video that I've been wanting to make for 7 years. This is my weight loss story. So, starting off in my early life, I wasn't always an overweight kid. I was really active when I was young. I used to go and play outside a lot. My dad had a really awesome yard set up for us. We had basketball hoops and soccer goals and all kinds of swing sets and stuff. So I was very active, spent a lot of time playing outside. Definitely wasn't overweight. Really loved playing basketball a lot. Played probably at least an hour every day when I was a kid. Was outside every chance that I had as a kid. I don't really remember a ton about what I was eating at that time of my life. I just know that I remember there being fruits and vegetables in the house. My parents, I think, for the most part, fed me and my brother and sister a fairly healthy diet. Yeah, and I don't really remember thinking much about food at all. I've always had an appetite as a kid, but I don't really remember being overly fixated on food. I feel like I mostly would want to go in, eat food so I could get back to playing outside. So then, yeah, early life was great. I had a lot of fun as a kid. I started gaining weight though around age 11 or so. And I think I've narrowed down to 3 main causes of my weight gain. It was, I went to a new school, which had a lot of unhealthy food available. I started playing a lot more video games, and I had some more autonomy. And what I mean by that is I was able to make some more of my own choices, had some more money from lawn mowing and things like that. So I tended to spend a lot of my money on food. So yeah, I went to a private school. The private school let you buy soda and candy and chips and Costco muffins as much as you wanted for lunch. So I remember saving up all the money that I had to just buy food. I had a big appetite increase around middle school age. I remember being really hungry all the time and just wanting to eat all the time. Being less active and everything, but I was still a pretty active kid, still played a lot of basketball, but I remember I was probably going through a growth spurt, but I just remember being ravenously hungry and not knowing how to fill myself properly. So yeah, I went to the new school, started eating a lot more. Also, I remember the summer of 2001, my brother and I spent the entire summer mowing lawns and saving up our money so we could buy a PlayStation 2. I remember that was a huge thing for me once we got our PlayStation. We had some awesome times, but it also was a sacrifice of a lot of exercise and outdoor time. Yeah, and then I just remember eating more things. Like I remember me and my friends would ride our bikes to 7-Eleven or to Taco Bell or whatever, and it was a lot less my parents controlling, not that they were ever controlling, but like my parents just giving me food as a little kid, and then I got older and I started making more food choices. I definitely started to pack on some weight around 11 or 12. I remember getting teased a lot about this at school and just everywhere, but I tried not to pretend like it didn't bother me, but that was a tough time for sure. I remember middle school is tough for most people, but I remember that was my main thing. Was I was gaining weight and I didn't really understand why, and I remember thinking, I saw my friends, like they all drank Mountain Dew and ate a lot of the same foods I did, I thought, but it seemed like I was the only one gaining weight. So I remember that was the first time in my life that I was aware of my body. I remember thinking that I was just kind of destined to be overweight. I just remember thinking that some people are just overweight, and that sucks that I'm one of them. But I also didn't think there's anything I could do about it. I remember just thinking that this is my life now. I guess I'll just keep doing what I think is fun. And then as I got a little bit older in high school, I got a little bit more active in high school. I switched from my private school to a public school. I played basketball all through high school, so I did stay active. I also had a growth spurt in high school. I'm about 6'2", and I got to that height by senior year of high school, so I feel like that leveled off my weight a little bit. But I was definitely still one of the bigger kids in my school, but I made the varsity basketball team, which I was really proud of, and I was good enough to be on the team, but I definitely feel like my weight held me back. Also notable in high school, this is the first time I ever started lifting weights or working out for the sake of working out. So that was a good start to something later, but wasn't that serious about it. So yeah, end of high school, I was about 260-ish pounds, I think. So I was kind of hanging on a little bit, but definitely was more overweight than I wanted to be at that time. So the next chapter that I guess I'll touch on in my life was kind of the post-high school chapter in my early 20s. I went to community college right out of high school. I was paying my way through college, and I had a terrible job as a car washer at a luxury car lot. It was brutal, very physical, very hot or cold is all I remember, either freezing or dying in the heat. But anyway, I would go take my car to fast food almost every day for lunch. There was a Costco across the street. I'd go get Costco pizza. I'd go get Burger King, things like that all the time. Really started to pack on weight. I also stopped playing basketball in college. So I played, in high school, basketball practice was 6 days a week. So I stayed active whether I wanted to or not. But I gained about 40 pounds in 2 years after high school. I also went through a really tough breakup at this time. So I just remember being at a really low point in my life and just not feeling good about myself at all. I ended up getting this is 2011 winter, I believe. I ended up getting an infection on my hand. I don't even know what it was, honestly. I don't remember, but my hand it was from the cold, from having my hands be wet and dry, and then chemicals, I think. They probably didn't take the best care of their employees there, now that I think about it, but I got a really bad rash and my hand was like splitting and cracking open. So I went to the doctor with my dad to get it looked at, and I remember I hadn't weighed myself since high school. And I remember thinking I knew I had gained weight, but I thought I had gained like 5 or 10 pounds. And I remember stepping on the scale specifically and seeing 301 on the scale. And I remember my dad was there, and I remember my dad being surprised, and that was tough. I remember my dad actually saying, like, "Is that right?" Like, so that was disappointing. That was hard to see that number. So I remember, just not really being really defeated by that. And I remember going out my life a little bit longer. And I remember one day after work, I came home and I was really sad. And I remember telling my dad, I said, "I'm going to be single, wash cars, and live with my parents the rest of my life." I remember saying that. And my dad, to his credit, he actually laughed at me. And I'm really thankful he laughed because he knew that wasn't true. I don't know if that was a catalyst point for me, but I do really remember that. And I remember shortly after that, I remember just really wanting to make a change. And it took a while. I was still in that tough spot for a long time, but something started to change around 2011. So yeah, I one day decided, I had tried to lose weight a bunch of times. I don't know how many times, and I always tried and failed. But I remember one night in particular, like saying to myself, "I'm done, and I'm not going to give up this time." And I don't know what clicked. I wish I could tell you, but something clicked, and I was done. And I remember telling my parents, like, "I'm going to lose weight. I'm going to do this." And I didn't know what to do, but I just knew I was going to do it. My mom actually signed me up for Weight Watchers at the time. That was the first any type of food tracking I ever did in my life. I did Weight Watchers for a few months, 4 months probably, and I actually lost about 15 pounds, which was really motivating, and it felt like I was in control of my body for the first time in a long time. So that was awesome. And then I also at that time, in 2012, I went to Mexico, and I was an intern for an organization that builds houses in Mexico for families. So I went, and it's a lot of physical labor with no power tools. So I was mixing cement, putting on roofs on houses, stuccoing houses all day, every day in 90-degree sun. And I did not watch what I ate at all during that time. And I ended up losing, 15 more pounds just from existing that summer. So I remember getting home and being like on 270-ish and feeling like I had some momentum. And then once I got home, I remember editor Alex and I actually went for a bike ride. We rode from downtown Portland to Gresham, which I don't know how many miles that is, but it was the biggest bike ride I had ever done in my life. And I remember being really motivated and talking to Alex about wanting to exercise. And he probably was a bigger impact on my weight loss than he realizes, because Alex was actually the first one that suggested I start doing Insanity. And if you haven't heard of Insanity, you can look it up, but it's a pretty crazy at-home workout, lots of jumping. So I remember doing that with Alex, and the first workout, 5 minutes in, I thought I was gonna throw up, but I didn't throw up. And we kept doing Insanity every morning in his basement for the rest of the year. I got home in the summer, and we did it through December. So yeah, I remember getting down to about 250 pounds and feeling really good and feeling a lot better, and sticking with it. I kept that weight for a while. All right, so then kind of the next stage, I guess, for me would be like kind of the momentum stage. I got down to 250 pounds, kept working out all winter and spring. I remember playing a basketball class at college. I remember I was playing basketball at one point like 6 days a week, which felt awesome. I had felt more energetic than I did even in high school. I remember being really motivated by that. And then I went back to Mexico in 2013 for another summer of work, and there's the same thing. I didn't watch what I ate at all, ate tacos and drank Coke all summer, and lost 15 pounds without trying, just from all the physical activity. So that was super motivating. And then I got home in August of 2013 and kept exercising. And in October of 2013, I met my future wife, Kelsey, at editor Alex and his wife's wedding. Actually, we were a groomsmen and bridesmaids together. So we started dating, and yeah, I ended up moving to San Diego for about 8 months. And but I remember just having an awesome time just dating Kelsey, and it was hard being long distance, but I stayed on my workouts and stayed playing basketball in San Diego. So I got down. I remember specifically at the wedding, I remember the number 237. I don't remember why. I remember at Alex's wedding, I was 237, and that was the lowest I had been in I don't know how long. And I remember being really proud of that number. And yeah, I maintained somewhere between there and 250 until the end of 2014. So yeah, like I said, the end of 2014, I had been dating Kelsey for about a year at that point, and at Christmas time, I proposed, and she said yes, which was very exciting. I remember being around 250 when I proposed to Kelsey, and our wedding was in August. So I remember setting a lofty goal for myself. I wanted to be under 200 pounds for the wedding. So that would be 50 pounds in 8 months, which is a big goal, but I remember timing it out, and it was, 2 pounds a week or so. So I remember being super motivated, the most motivated maybe that I've ever been, at least up into that point. Kelsey got me a NutriBullet for Christmas, NutriBullet blender, so I was making smoothies for breakfast every morning. I was tracking my food now in MyFitnessPal. I don't remember exactly when I started using that, I think around 2014. But I was tracking my food every day, and I got not a Fitbit, but a off-brand step counter, and I was getting at least 10,000 steps a day and doing an Insanity or cardio-like workout about 6 days a week. And I ended up doing it. I made my goal. I remember in early August, mid-August, I was 195, which I could not believe that I was in the 100s. First time probably since middle school that I was under 200 pounds. I remember being really excited, and was really happy with how things turned out on the wedding day. For pictures and everything, it was an awesome time. Was super proud, super excited. And that's something I really want to highlight in this video, that I did not stress. I did not have an overly complicated program. I didn't restrict any food groups. I ate pizza and ice cream and whatever, cookies often. Kelsey and I were still going out to dinner, going to get burgers or whatever, but I feel like I was doing kind of unintentional intermittent fasting. I would have a smoothie for breakfast and then not eat again until lunch, which was like an apple or something, a protein shake, and then I would eat a really big dinner. So it was almost like a one meal a day. I would have probably like a 1,500 calorie dinner. I remember not being starving. I remember being hungry, a little bit hungry at work, but I was kind of distracted. And I remember being as easy as losing 50 pounds in 8 months can be. I remember feeling pretty good about that. So Yeah, so at that point, I started at 301 in 2011, and by the mid 2015, I was 195, so over 100 pounds. And then I kind of just maintained in me and Kelsey's marriage. I kept working out and exercising. So yeah, I've kept up a lot of the same habits and tried to improve, but also kind of just kept with what was working for a long time. Since 2015, I've been really motivated and just passionate about fitness. I've been trying to improve as best I could. I've had a lot of ups and downs in that time. Specifically one time in around 2017, I definitely took things too far and it got a little out of hand. I'll plan to make a future video on that to tell my full story about what happened there. But yeah, that was an interesting time for sure. But since then, I feel like I've come out of that and I'm in a pretty healthy place now. I moved away from those cardio workouts that I was doing, and I started doing a lot more weightlifting. I feel like weightlifting is a passion of mine along with basketball. I feel like that's kind of like my second coming of just something to be really excited about in life. I always had basketball as a kid, but weightlifting's been almost the same level for trying to improve and just enjoyment. So that's something I do 4 or 5 days a week right now. Still counting my steps, still tracking my calories, but I just feel like I have a really, really healthy relationship with food and exercise. I've definitely taken it too far. I've had some sprints or some valleys, but I feel like things are going really well. Yeah, so I'll be making some future videos about what I'm currently doing, getting more in depth about my diet and workouts. So yeah, stay tuned for that. But I feel like kind of just in a place where I can slowly improve, and I really enjoy that. I kind of feel like I'm in a sustainable place where I can keep improving the rest of my life, really, which is really exciting. All right, so if you made it this far, thank you for watching. Please comment below if you're starting your weight loss journey. I'd love to hear about it. What are you doing? What are you excited about? What's your plan? If you've already lost weight, how'd you do it? What worked for you? What things didn't work? What would you change? Really wanting to have a positive fitness community on this channel, so comment away. I will try to do my best and keep responding to all of your comments. I believe I have so far, so I'm gonna try to keep doing that. Also, please give the video a like if you like it, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Instagram if you want to see more day-to-day stuff at Scott_Vasnick. I think that's all for this one. Thanks again so much for watching. Really appreciate your guys' support, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you.